Hello. I can see people are starting to join now. I love how keen some people are. Not even 11. We'll give it a couple of minutes just for some of the stragglers to join, and then we'll get started. And just to let everyone know who's joining, this is a 30-minute webinar, so there should be some time for questions at the end, and we should be hopefully finishing around 11:30. Right, we'll get started now. We'll have a bit of intro slides anyway to begin with. So thank you so much for joining me today to discuss QR codes powered by GS1. So I am Kirsten, and I'm a project manager working on the QR program for GS1 UK. I'm joined today by Alice Rackley, the CEO and co-founder of Polytag Limited, who are one of our valuable GS1 UK partners. I'm going to talk a bit about the background of the QR code program and some of its use cases. Then I'll hand over to Alice to take us through some specific environmental use cases that they are working with. So who are GS1? Well, we're a global, not-for-profit membership organisation with standards at our heart. Within retail, we're well known for the barcode, so that no matter where a product is sold, the barcode will be unique and refer to that specific product. And that's an example of one of our standards at its core. Now, the barcode has been great, and it's served us for 50 years. But with the giant leaps in technology, data, and the retail landscape over this time, there's even more that can be done with this barcode. So this brings us to the next generation of barcodes, the QR code powered by GS1. I think of it as the barcode meeting the internet. A barcode is just a representation of the global trade item number, the GTIN, whereas a QR code can hold so much more data. In this case, we call it a GS1 digital link, where we'll have a web page link, as a normal QR code might, and then the GTIN in the standardized format. And then there is ability to add all sorts of different data encoded into this, such as batch number, country of origin, expiry date, weight, and so on. And with this web page link, you can use a GS1 conformant resolver to direct whoever is scanning it to multiple useful pages. So that's all good, but what does this actually mean? Well, this means at the first level, it goes deep at the till instead of the barcode, and it means it can be scanned for more information by a consumer. It means data accessed through the resolver can be updated in real time to be accurate and easily searchable, and it means that the additional data in the digital link can be used in so many ways by a retailer or brand. For example, if a product is encoded with a batch number, this can facilitate easier product recall. So let's think about what this means for the environment. Expiry dates is a great example. Right now, supermarkets cannot easily track what exact item is sold, whether it's the milk expiring tomorrow or in a week. And so they have to order enough to cover the option of having to throw away anything that could expire. Food waste is bad for the environment and bad for retailers. But with expiry dates encoded into a product, the seller will be able to accurately order stock. Woolworths in Australia have used GS1 standards to do this and have reduced their food waste by 40%. We have an excellent case study on this, which I'll send around after the webinar. So that's great for the environment, but what else does it mean? Well, Of course, the more data you can put behind a QR code powered by GS1, the more you can leave off pack, saving materials and money. Patagonia started using QR codes on their labels, went from 20 hang tags and 453 unique inserts down to 2 hang tags and 4 legally required tags. Everything else can be found with a simple scan. Over a third of UK consumers claim to be very concerned about issues regarding the provenance of their products. We see a generational difference with nearly 50% of Gen Z and millennials willing to pay more for sustainable products versus 16% of baby boomers. Gen Z's influence will only increase as the younger members of this cohort grow into adulthood. By 2030, Gen Z will represent 27% of the world's income, and there'll be a bigger group than millennials by 2031. With QR codes powered by GS1 and the digital link, you can show your brand story, your ethical statements, and sustainability initiatives through scanning the QR code. There's even the ability to have a specific product accurately tracked back to where it came from, including its environmental footprint. More data means more information, means empowering consumers to make the right choice for them. This naturally leads us on to QR codes being a link to sustainability regulations, such as the Digital Product Passport, Extended Producer Responsibility and Recycling Initiatives, both in the UK and Europe. We are doing a regulation-focused webinar in September, which will go into more detail on this. And the last part I shall mention is that of specific location recycling messages, which can accurately inform a consumer the correct and best way to recycle the specific product in their location. This session, I'm just really talking about the specific environmentally friendly benefits the QR codes powered by GS1. However, as you can see from this infographic, there are so many ways that using these next generation barcodes can improve business and consumer experiences. If you're interested in knowing more about other use cases, we have a webinar on marketing benefits and a webinar on supply chain efficiencies available via our website. And we will be discussing regulations and accessibilities in our next webinars in September. As for right now, I'd like to introduce Alice Rackley from Polytag. Welcome, Alice.
Thanks very much for having me, Kirsten. Appreciate it. So we're talking about the environmental benefits that you can realise from using QR codes powered by GS1. And for those of you that don't know about Polytag, this really is at the heart of our proposition. So we focus very much on supporting our brand clients with collecting information about their packaging life cycles in order to enable circularity. And in particular, helping them to understand where packaging is being disposed of and also whether it's getting recycled. And the other thing that we specialise in is enabling connected packaging solutions. And that's very much what Kirsten's just been talking about, this ability to connect a product to content on the website. And a lot of our customers use the tools that we provide for them to tell their sustainability stories and to bring to life their credentials. And so I've just got a couple of case studies here that I wanted to share today ahead of the Q&A, where we can demonstrate that our customers are doing just that. And the first one is one of our clients, One Water, who many of the attendees may be familiar with. One Water have got a very strong sustainability story, particularly within the work they do around access to clean water in overseas countries and the funding that they provide. And they wanted to use a GS1 compliant QR code to tell this story in a richer format. And so they've put QR codes that they have generated and are managing through the Polytag platform on both their cans and their bottled waters. So anybody in Starbucks, for example, picking up a water will find one of the GS1 compliant QR codes on the One Water bottles. Just a few points about why they chose to use GS1 compliant QR codes. Obviously, Kirsten's just mentioned that these will eventually go beep at the till. And so they are preparing for that moment when hopefully they'll be able to remove that huge barcode and just use the QR code there that you can see in the photograph. They're also, as I said, able to build stunning landing pages using a very easy to use page builder tool that's available to Polytag clients. And they can also just redirect to their own content through the resolver if that is what they would prefer to do. And having done that, they're then able to access real-time engagement insight. And in particular, we know that when clients of ours use barcode level information on the landing pages, they achieve a much higher dwell time. In fact, we're seeing up to 7 times higher dwell time. And we say that's a lot of high quality eyeballs reading your brand content. And so it does definitely have a measurable ROI. Not only are you able to tell your sustainability stories, but with content at barcode level, you can convey clear recycling instructions to support your customers making better recycling decisions. And all of this is super easy to get hold of. You can just get started with just 2 clicks on the Polytag dashboards. And that will allow you, as I said, to give every product a voice and follow One Water with the work that they've demonstrated here. You can also scan the QR code if you're joining from a screen. I think it does scan. I tested it the other day if you'd just like to see how it's working for a consumer. I've given you an enlarged little view there. So that's the first case study I wanted to share today. And we go on to the next slide, please, Kirsten, thanks. Another case study that I thought would be interesting in the context of environmental communications and how you can leverage the GS1 compliant QR codes is this case study, which some of you may have come across. It was a really significant pilot that we delivered in partnership with Ocado, who are the largest UK online retailer, and Bauer, who are a rewards for recycling app based in Sweden, Stockholm, but operating across the world. And together, we were able to deliver a rewards for recycling experience that was so secure because it leveraged serialized QR codes that they were able to pay out 20 pence cash for every milk bottle that was successfully recycled. So, as I said, just to talk through a few highlights of this pilot, these were unique every time QR codes that were digitally printed into a plate printed Ocado milk label. So that's to say every instance of packaging had its own unique QR code on it. And if you scanned that QR code as a consumer with your mobile phone, you went to the landing page for that barcode. But when the Bauer app scanned the same QR code, it was able to interrogate the web address and find the unique serial number that was included in every code, and then use that as a very secure, risk-free way of managing rewards, financial rewards, back to consumers through the in-app experience. The process itself of getting unique every time QR codes onto labels is relatively low cost because you can continue to produce your labels in a standard mass-produced plate printing style, but just leave a white space to digitally finish the code onto the label. And that's in contrast to potentially digitally printing the entire label, which is slower and more costly. So along with our digital printing partners, we've developed a way of allowing brands to get those unique every time QR codes onto each instance of label in a relatively low cost way that complements the existing label manufacturing processes that are used across the industry. And what that enabled Ocado to do is capture totally unique disposal points data. And on the Polytag dashboard, which we integrated with the Bauer app, we were able to show Ocado exactly where each of the 20,000 milk bottles were disposed of at GPS level across the UK. There's data that they've never been able to see before that really does validate their consumers are acting in an environmentally responsible way and being rewarded for doing so, thanks to this partnership between the Bauer app and Polytag's QR codes. So yeah, really opportunity to incentivize your customers to do more recycling with in-app rewards and deposit schemes. And as I said, unlocking market-leading insights, that data that had never been seen before, and giving Ocado assurances that when they say their packaging is getting recycled, they have proof points, thus avoiding any claims of greenwashing. And the final point, just to say on this, and feel free to scan the QR code. This is actually a serialized QR code powered by GS1, which will take you to the landing page for milk. I think it's 4 pints, semi-skimmed, this one. So give that a scan while you're waiting. But Ocado are very keen to continue with this kind of initiative because legislation around how packaging is handled and managed is only getting tighter. Those of you that are involved with packaging on the call will be aware of the plastic packaging tax and extended producer responsibility for packaging and digital waste tracking, and over in Europe, PPWR. And this is all alongside the potential for a digital deposit return scheme. And being able to base a lot of that legislative reporting or internal strategy around ESG on actual data is exactly where the market is leading us to. And that data can be collected through GS1 compliant QR codes that are available through Polytag. Thanks. Right, next slide. This is the final case study I just wanted to share with the audience today. These are not QR codes powered by GS1. They are a different tag format, but they use the GTIN that is in the QR code that we supply to our clients. And there's a photograph there of the tags applied all over the label using a fluorescent invisible ink. This is a piece of work that we're delivering for Aldi at the moment. And that GTIN can then be used not just within a QR code for consumer interaction and supply chain interaction, but it can manifest in this invisible tag format and be detected in recycling centres. Super easy to apply. Again, it's just another ink colour that you plate to print over your labels. And it really does unlock, again, another set of data that's never been seen before at barcode level, direct from recycling centres, so that you can champion circularity throughout your brand and also enhance the opportunity for recycling centres to sort plastic more effectively. This is data, as I said, that's never been captured before and is allowing brands to stop guessing whether their packaging is being recycled and genuinely know that it has made it into a recycling centre. And again, that kind of information is super useful when you're trying to set targets and benchmark progress over time. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that GTIN can be used in other tag formats that meet GS1 standards and can support with all sorts of additional environmental opportunities. That's it.
Fabulous. Yeah, thank you so much, Alice. That's super interesting. We're going to open up to Q&A, so if anyone's got any questions, please do mention it in the chat. In terms of the QR program, Polytag are one of our QR code partners. We have other partners as well who are available on our partner finder, but I'd say that Alice is doing something really, really interesting and a bit different with Polytag that's worth having a look at. Some great use cases and case studies can be found on their website as well as on our website as well. Not sure we've got any questions yet. Here we are. So hello and thank you for the session. How do you think these QR codes by GS1 affect the lack of consumer trust in environmental claims of companies and their corporate sustainability reporting? Alice, do you want to take that first of all?
I think that these QR codes powered by GS1 will have a huge impact ultimately on revealing to consumers information that they have been keen to find out about and reveal a level of transparency about not just packaging life cycles, but product life cycles as well, that will really transform how we interact with customers and how we do share information, particularly around sustainability, which is a hot topic, right? I think they've got a significant power to impact that particular space.
Something that I only touched on really here when I talked about traceability and provenance. So one of the sort of use cases we've looked at is if you've got a batch number that's saved in the barcode through the QR code powered by GS1, you can then have that batch where it's linked to, for example, you might have a fish pie where each of the different fish are sort of linked through to the batch, so you know exactly where each of them have come from. We've got a Mildura salmon Madeira salmon use case, I believe it is, where you can track back when you buy salmon exactly where it's coming from. We've got another question which is asking if Polytag support accessibility QR, which are QR codes for the visually impaired like NaviLens and ZapVision.
Oh, thanks for asking the question, Harish. Yes, so just 2 points on that. All of our websites that you can build within the Polytag solution can be tagged so that they can be read out loud from a phone and support those people who've got visual impairment to actually hear the content on the landing page. And then secondarily, yes, we can absolutely integrate with NaviLens or ZapVision and have the Polytag QR codes, which are GS1 compliant, used alongside those visually impaired tools that are out there in the market at the moment. So yeah, we're able to do both of those things. Hopefully that answers your question.
And like I said before, we have an accessibility webinar coming up with Zappa in September. So we'll go a little bit into that use case, which is really interesting. But
yeah,
I think
it's super good, super important. Yeah, so we're happy to do that.
Right. When a consumer scans the QR code, for example, the Ocado case study, will the landing page take into account the location of the consumer when advising the recycling availability, taking into account the local council facilities, e.g. some councils will take glass, others won't?
Yeah, great question, Claire. So we've got a couple of options for our clients' landing pages. If they want to collect GPS location data, then they can just toggle on their dashboard to have a pop-up which requests the consumer to accept sharing their location. And in that instance, we're then able to direct them to location-specific information if that's what the brand would like to do through their QR code. So it's entirely possible. If they're not able to share their location, then we're just collecting IP address in that instance and playing that back on the dashboard. So it is slightly trickier to be relevant at council level for the data and the information that we can share back to consumers. But both are possibilities. And so, yeah, we'd love to chat through what you'd like to do and support you with building the landing pages and sharing the content that you'd like with your customers.
Yeah, I think definitely in terms of sort of after possible where we see the future of QR codes, we're really at the beginning of this journey. It's the program's sort of been around for a few years. It's a global transition that is happening to QR codes powered by GS1, scanning them at sale, but also being used for sort of all sorts of different efficiencies and consumer engagement. And I think in terms of possibility, we imagine at some point in the future it is going to be the case. Most people will be able to check where they can recycle, exactly how they can recycle, no matter, not even just in terms of councils, but, you know, if you think across the world, being able to go and scan it, get it back in the language you speak and telling you exactly what you do in that place is going to be such a good use case.
Yeah, 100%.
Do we have any
good questions so far?
Do you have any studies which can be shared which provide examples of LCA results of products? Carbon emissions?
So we haven't worked directly with any packaging lifecycle analysis businesses, but we have integrations available with them. So if there is, for example, a carbon footprinting tool that you're using to assess your packaging lifecycle, and you would like to share that information with consumers through a landing page they access through a QR code, and we can integrate with those providers to make sure the information is getting directly to consumers. Similarly, we've done a case study that's available on our website in partnership with Co-op, where we applied the invisible fluorescent tags to their water bottles and traced them through to recycling centres and gave them a percentage recycling rate for their packaging. Which I'm afraid I can't share, but it's just an example of how that data can be used then by Co-op and other brands to support them with calculating their carbon footprint of the packaging. You know, if you know the recycling rate finally at barcode level, then you can use that information to extrapolate the overall carbon footprint of a piece of packaging. Hope that
Something
helps.
that's quite relevant for this is with the digital product passport, obviously there's going to be all sorts of environmental data that will need to be tracked. Something that we're doing as GS1 globally is we're looking at how this data can be sort of kept in a machine readable format and kept in a accessible through a QR format as well. So that's something we're working on. I can't speak too much on the DPP right now, but we do have a regulation webinar coming up. And at this point, we could sort of talk a little bit about how carbon footprints, emissions and so on can be tracked in a, like I say, useful, machine readable and standardized format, because the core of really GS1 is standards and interoperability. So no matter who scans something, they're speaking the same language to get back the same answer. Fabulous. If there aren't any more questions, we could do the finishing steps. Okay. Alice, anything you'd like to say before we finish up?
No, good questions though. Thanks very much.
Fabulous. So in terms of today, yeah, thank you so much. Alice, you've been fantastic. And this is, like I said before, the third of our webinar series. The other two are available to watch on our website, and we have 3 more to come in September and October. If you do have any burning questions or want any help getting started, you can email us directly at qr@gs1uk.org. We'll also be emailing around links to be able to look at everything on the website. I'll send over the Woolworths Australia case study. We will just share a bit of information, but we're here if you've got any questions, and it's been really fantastic to be able to present to you all today.